Hello, can you hear me? Yes, excellent, wow, amazing. I wasn't expecting to see half as many of you in the miserable, dry January month that we have every year. At this time of year we have, of course, January. But no, wonderful, thank you so much for coming. I made a New Year's resolution, which is I tend to start late, and it's sort of 7:30 for 8, and I end up being 8:15. But my New Year's resolution is I'm going to start bang on 8 o'clock in future. In fact, I'm 2 minutes before. Might even think about just moving it forward to 7:30 so we get everything done and all the speakers and you hear everything. That's a sort of plan I've got. But thank you for coming. I hope you had wonderful New Year's. Thank you to Piano Man Dan, who just played. I don't know if you caught some of that stuff, but as you might know, Dan themes the set lists around the speaker's subject. So I think we heard some Mozart, probably heard some Pink Floyd, probably some Bjork, and there'll be 2 intervals, and you'll hear Dan play some more mixed up music, theming to the speaker's subjects that we're going to have tonight. So I've learnt too from the last one that I don't need to give you an introduction about the Bavard anymore. You know what it is, so I will crack on and not. Well, if you don't know what it is, you're going to find out in a minute anyway. So I don't need to tell you that stuff. But I will just say a couple of things, which is if you've got mobile phones, could you stick them to silent? And also, I sort of, some months ago when I started this, I did sort of say that the Bavard is kind of a heckle-free zone, because I sort of want to encourage speakers to come forward and to feel relaxed so that they can then speak and share their passions with us. So if when people are speaking, giving their talks, if you could sort of try and keep the noise to a minimum, that would be wonderful. But apart from that, there's intervals, and as you know, there's some improvisation slots, on which point I will tell you, because I think you know about this one, which is this thing that I've called KP Light, a sort of twist on a night that's been going, a speaking night's been going since about 2003, started in Tokyo in Japan, Chikuche, and I sort of twisted it and played around with it and made it a little bit of improvisation. So that is 6 mystery slides. Anyone that wants to have a go at that, Lee Corns. Anyone that wants to have a go at that, there's no pressure, there's never any pressure, I won't pick on anybody, but I've got 3 sets of slides ready, and I'll offer it up at the end of my little intro, and then there's a couple of intervals and there'll be slots available then. But over Christmas, I had some kind of inspiration, maybe to call it that. But a friend of mine sent me this a few weeks ago, a front cover of a book. It's by Harry Vaness, which is a local Hastings name. Some of you might know him or of him, his family perhaps. And the book's entitled Whatever Happened to the Oojah Kappivvy. Now, this is going to be, potentially, there's no pressure, and I won't name the person who sent it to me, this may well form the basis of a future Bavard talk, which will be fascinating. But the name, I love the name, Oojah Kappivvy. It's just, what is it? Well, I can tell you what it is. It's thingamabob. It was a Hastings Old Town localised expression for thingamabob, what should a jig, Oojah we call it, whatever. Oojah Kappivvy was the Hastings Old Town expression for that. And it sort of died out. So I thought, we will eventually, in a few months' time, I think, have a talk on this whole subject, the Old Town and this trip down memory lane. But in the meantime, I sort of thought, well, we could do something with this, and maybe introduce another sort of semi-improv slot. So I've come up with this thing called Oojah Kappivvy, which I've based on, Would I Lie to You? And some of you, I'm sure, would remember Call My Bluff with Robert Robinson. So it's kind of like that. Basically, I've written down a few facts. I've got a tattoo of a donkey on my back, or whatever, silly facts. And anyone that wants to, in one of the intervals, can come and tell me they want to do an Oojah Kappivvy, and it's legal, it's totally legal. And I will then, and you can tell me something about yourself that is true, but a bit unusual, a bit quirky. I will write it down, and then I'll call you up at probably the start of the second interval, or the end of the second interval, before the final speaker. And essentially the feature is just that we will ask you questions. I'll hand you 2 pieces of paper. One will have my false fact on, one will have your true fact on. You'll take whichever one, and then you'll bluff to the audience. I tried it for the first time in Eastbourne a couple of weeks ago, and it went surprisingly well. And I was bloody relief, frankly. I have no idea how it will play out here tonight. And I thought I'd leave it till maybe the second interval when you've all had a few drinks. I know it's trying January, but so that's what the Oojah Kappivvy is. And I should tell you, already had, while I was outside, someone come up to me and say that they would like to do an Oojah Kappivvy. And I said, well, wow, fabulous. So I have got one in the bank, potentially. It may be that they decide not to do it. We'll see. But if anybody wants to have a go, that is also still open. As I say, there's also the KP Light that is open. Anyway, I'm going to shortly reveal the speakers, but before I do that, I got thinking on the theme of sort of these made up, or not made up, but these unusual words. I got sort of thinking a day or so ago about other unusual words that have died out. So I've just got 3 or 4, just bear with me, indulge me for a few minutes, and I'll just go through some old English expressions that I thought were lovely, and maybe we should bring them back. So, Frobly Mobbly, anybody heard of Frobly Mobbly? I hope that you're all feeling, Frobly Mobbly, neither well nor unwell, sort of indifferently well, I heard it described, which is wonderful. I think we should start saying, "How you doing? I'm Frobly Mobbly." I think it's a lovely thing. It just rolls off the tongue. So Frobly Mobbly, Dysania. You might have come across this. Yes, I mean it's a January affliction, isn't it? It's a January affliction. We all have that. My daughter has that in bucket loads. So there we are. Now this one. I didn't put an image up because, what was it? I know. Yes, snurl, S-N-I-R-L. It's also spelled S-N-U-R-L. And it was the old English expression for nose, but also for a stuffy head cold. So I know that there's been a lot of this stuffy head cold going around, so if someone asks you how are you, you're either going to say you're probably mobbly, or that you've had a bit of a snurl. And you're doing that. And if you have had a bit of a snurl, then you might also have a kiffle, which I couldn't find an appropriate image for a cough, so I went with skiffle. But essentially, kiffle, K-I-F-F-L-E, was an old English word for a cough. I think also there was another word which was boke and hosk and birkin. So there's these words that have died out, and one other one which again I chose deliberately not to put an image up because it wouldn't have looked pleasant, but it's a meldrop, and a meldrop is that drop that forms on the end of your nose when you've had a bit of a snurl, and you're not probably mobbly or something else, you're definitely not mobbly. So that's a meldrop. Anyway, I think. Yeah, that's it. So now I can do the big reveal, which is I can tell you who we have tonight for our wonderful Bavarders. And that's, as you know, what I call the speakers Bavarders. And someone's here tonight that I've met. At Christmas I was trying to come up with names for people who come to the Bavard, and I was thinking Bavardese or Bavarians, but actually Bavardiers, and I like that because it's almost sort of musketeer. So, but our Bavarders tonight, we have, first up we have the wonderful Chris Tubberdale, and I might need to read this, Chris, because I want to get this right. So Chris is going to do a talk, I've got the full title here. We can change the world in a day if we change the rules. And I think, well, I won't say more on that. I'll let Chris tell you about that and his passion. Then we'll have a break, maybe a KP Light, see how you feel. And then we're going to have the wonderful Sophie Mayer, who's around somewhere. And Sophie is going to talk to us about what is real chocolate. So that is definitely appropriate for this time of year. And then finally we have, but last but not least, we have Keith Palmer, who I know I saw somewhere around there, who is going, I didn't get a title, but I think birthday suit, can I call it that? Yeah. So the birthday suit, we're going to have the birthday suit at the end, so which will be, well, I'll say nothing more on that either. So that's the big reveal, they're the speakers. I'm going to hand over in just a second to Chris, but before I do that, I will just offer up, if anybody wanted to, I have got 3 sets of slides for this KP light. I have themed them, the Christmas ones I themed, so obviously Christmassy. These ones I've themed semi-New Year-y to give you a bit of idea, but obviously you won't know the slides. They'll just come up and they move on after 15 seconds. But if no one wants to do it, that's absolutely fine. I'll offer it up again just before the second speaker, just before the last speaker. So, no takers, which is fair enough, I don't blame you. So I'm going to hand over to Chris, who's going to tell us how we can change the world in a day if we change the rules. So thank you.